Hello, everybody. This is Sarahscopic. Yeah, I did not say that right. This is Sarahscopic with Eskalia playing Asphyxia. All right, so they're going to be playing Game of Life, which we wish is Strip Game of Life, but
Strip Game of Life. Strip Game of Life.
Callie's holding out for that, but we'll see.
I didn't get my truth or dare wish.
I know, right?
It don't matter.
As it turned out,
Listen here, writer, you're on my shit list.
As it turned out, she did. So did a begrudging Percy. It seemed nobody could escape Georgia Byron's whims. The four girls sat together on the floor, still in their school uniforms. It had taken longer to set up the board than usual.
Dear Penthouse. All right, now you can read this.
Mostly because Roberta and Georgia kept arguing, and now the sky outside their window was pitch black. Where had all the time gone? It felt as though it had only been 5 minutes ago that Samantha had been sitting on the couch, staring out the window as the gray motorway rolled by. Maybe her perception of time had been skewed, given she had stayed up so late last night. She yawned, pressing one hand to her mouth. She yawned so hard, for so long, tears began to prick at the corner of her eyes, sharp and salty. At least it helped keep her alert.
So, now we need to pick our car. What color do you prefer, Bobby?
You know what, Georgia?
What?
I honestly don't care at all.
Well, I'm going to have red.
Gee, I wonder why. So saying, Georgia picked up the right car and placed it at the starting line.
You can have orange, Bobby.
Why orange?
Because of your hair. It's orange, right? Like goldfish colored?
Oh my gosh. You just want to be a close in color.
That's like, no, that's like so passive aggressive. It's like, I'm going to get your hair color wrong.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, she's a psychopath.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that is a level of, like, trolling that I can't even, like, fathom playing
Right,
on.
yeah.
I'm just gonna get your hair color wrong.
Roberta held a hand up to her scalp, her face flushing as red as George's car. My hair isn't goldfish colored, it's ginger.
It is?
Yeah, right? What?
Then do you want me to call you Ginger Nut?
Is that a promise? No, I had enough of that in primary school. I thought you, of all people, would be able to come up with something more biting than that. I'm gonna have the white car. Of course you are, sweetie.
Sure you are, milquetoast.
Percy's voice interrupted the two girls before they could start arguing once more. She picked up the white car between the pad of her thumb and forefinger and then set it down by Georgia's.
You would choose white, wouldn't you?
What does that mean?
It means that you're a pure girl, Percy. Good job. I'm sure Harry will be very happy.
Oh my gosh, Georgia! I feel like you're making fun of me. Then I'll take blue. Samantha had not given much thought into choosing her car, and had picked from the remaining colors at random, but now that she thought about it, didn't Lillian wear blue a lot? Your school uniforms are blue!
So, yes.
So yes! But as much as you do, sweetheart! Oh my god.
Oh, this girl. Aren't your eyes blue?
You're right, but they aren't. Was she subconsciously trying to tell her something, or was she just overthinking things? She did that a lot. Samantha shifted slightly, recrossing her legs. All of a sudden, the wooden floorboards underneath her thighs felt rather uncomfortable.
Now, we need to take a person peg.
All of the girls dutifully chose a pink peg to represent themselves, as was the norm. Georgia, however, was not content to be like everybody else and instead chose a blue one.
Georgia's trans.
Very interesting. Roberta frowned. Is there any reason why you would want to play as a man?
Who says blue is a boy's color? Girls can wear blue too. Just look at our uniforms. I love Georgia.
I know you do. Not that there was a hint of blue to Georgia's uniform. She may have been wearing the white blouse and pink ribbon, but nothing else in her ensemble was even remotely school regulation. Why did she always wear a black waistcoat anyway?
She's wearing a red waistcoat.
No, black waistcoat. This is a red coat.
Oh.
The waistcoat's inside.
Okay.
Roberta sighed. She knew as she asked, George would just smirk that unpleasant smirk of hers and say it was because she was a member of the nobility. Member of the nobility or no, Roberta didn't think that gave Georgia a right to dress any differently from anybody else. St. Mary's had a rulebook for a reason, damn it! You know what I mean? In these infantile games, blue always equates to being male.
Maybe I just felt like a change. Oh, she is trans. Sometimes I wish I had been born a boy. Life would have been easier then.
Oh, well, alright.
Okay.
That's a thing. Then you should start taking feminism a bit more seriously.
Oh my god, Percy, I love you.
It certainly is true that there is a difference between the wages men and women receive, and women experience harassment based on their gender on a daily basis. It just isn't fair!
I don't know why you keep telling me this stuff, Percy. It's cute that you're so enthusiastic, but I honestly don't care.
These are both you!
Yeah.
These are both me and these are you!
Yeah.
What just happened?
That's true.
What Percy blinked at Georgia, her eyes wide. She looked a little like a little child who had been told Santa does not really exist.
Spoiler, Santa does actually exist.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. You believe in Santa, right?
Yes.
Of course. Samantha didn't know why she looked so shocked. Wasn't this the kind of arch cynicism only to be expected from Georgia? It was true that Georgia had a rather firm set of principles, but it was also true she could be very dismissive about things that didn't interest her. But you just said you think men have it easier.
I think they often do, but I don't care about that enough to get all worked up like you, Percy. What's the point? It's not going to change anything.
Georgia, that attitude isn't going to get you anywhere. If everybody felt like that, then nothing would get done at all. We'd still be sitting in our amphitheaters watching slaves fend off hungry lions!
You're being too generous, Percy. I don't think mankind has progressed nearly as much as you think it has. Rather than putting servants to death, we have simply found new scapegoats for imagined crimes.
Whoa, Georgia! Dang!
Not wrong,
That's what I'm telling you! It's exactly why you should care!
I do care, but I don't see the point in complaining. It doesn't help. People can convince themselves that their righteous indignation has some kind of worth all day long for all I care, but I know it isn't true. The only way to truly achieve change in this world is through brute force, not nagging.
That's so cynical! It's because of people like you that the Tories keep getting voted in. Whoa, that is a English thing, so...
Oh.
Yeah, a Tory, that's part of British politics.
Oh.
Yeah. You alright?
How'd you get my Tory?
Oh. do you need some comfort?
Yes.
Oh, are you okay?
I'm good. Keep going.
Okay. It's you.
I'm not even old enough to vote yet.
That's beside the point. Don't you care about anybody other than yourself?
No. Aw, don't be like that. I care about you, don't I?
In your own Georgie way, I suppose.
Hey, Georgie. Well then, there's no problem.
Georgia slid her blue piece, which had caused such a controversy, into her car, and she sat back with a small file, her fingertips pressed together.
So, ladies, shall we begin? What are we going to put on the line?
I know.
Hey, Bobby, it's time to pay up.
Uh-oh. Why are you suing me? I don't even have that much money. Percy's the one who's winning, not me.
That may be true, but I like Percy more than I like you, Bobby. Therefore, I am suing you. Do you have a problem with that?
So you're willing to sacrifice your own chances of victory just to make things more difficult for me?
That's about the gist of it, yeah.
Well, at least you're honest. I don't know if that makes it any better, though. Sighing, Roberta handed over a small handful of colorful money to Georgia. Though she was irritated at Georgia's underhanded tactics, she could not falter. She was not, after all, breaking any rules. Even when Roberta hated whatever task she was engaged in, she always followed the rules, right down to the letter. Maybe that was why she didn't enjoy board games very much. She was too serious.
Thank you kindly.
Georgia took the money with a grin, her pointed teeth glistening in her mouth like shards of broken glass.
Jesus. Would you kindly hand me over that stack of cash?
Right. Oh, now it's my turn. Percy spun the spinner and landed on a 4. She moved her little car 4 squares along the track, as instructed, and read the information on the square where she had landed. You go on holiday to Italy, paid £10,000. Doesn't seem a bit steep for a holiday.
Yes, but it doesn't specify how long you're in Italy for. For all we know, you could have stayed there for years.
I suppose so. I don't know if the hot weather would be good for my skin, though. It might not be good for my children, either. She is very pale. You don't have any children. They're just plastic pieces. Right now, perhaps, but someday.
Do you want to be a housewife that much?
I wouldn't mind it.
Wow, ultra-feminist leading woman. She wants to be a housewife?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of surprised.
I mean, it's fine if you want
yeah,
that.
it's fine. I am genuinely surprised.
Yeah.
Well, she's in love with Harry.
That's true.
Don't snort like that, Georgia. I love children. They're just so cute with their button noses and tiny fingers.
And screaming mouths and flailing limbs, rashes and scabs and dirty nappies. Ugh.
Yeah, these are definitely both of you. I feel like you wane between these two thoughts when it comes to kids.
Yeah, Georgia usually wins, though.
I know. Georgia shuddered.
I would rather die than have children. It would ruin my figure, too.
I have some bad news for you, lady.
Oh, good lord. Georgia is so me.
There are more important things to do than your figure, Georgia. Next, it was Samantha's turn. Like Percy had before her, she spun the spinner. Of course, she got a 2. For some reason, Samantha's spins have been decidedly pathetic throughout the game, and she was lagging far behind everybody else.
Oh, it's like it's an allegory.
I know. Sadly enough, this felt like a suitable representation of her own life. It was so fitting she couldn't help but smile, though, Riley. Getting so many low spins might have been a blessing if they made her stop on squares that allowed her to collect more money, but that was not the case. Instead, she kept landing on squares that forced her to throw her money away. They were only halfway through the game and she was nearing bankruptcy. At least she had a husband and 3 children to keep her company. Actually, that make that 4 children.
Oh, jeez.
Samantha sighed as once more she was grieved with the news that she'd been given birth to yet another child. Why do you look so gloomy? The birth of a child should be a joyous occasion. It would be joyous if I had any money. We have to give you money for each child you have, though. Yes, but it won't be enough to pay for their education.
Oh.
Samantha bit down her lower lip and began to chew, as she often did with trouble. It was ridiculous that a simple board game should be distressing her so much, but it was. This were an indication of how her life was really going to pan out. She might as well hang herself from the wooden rafters right there and then. Jeez. Percy had been right. The game of life really was depressing. It wasn't that much more enjoyable than her real life.
No.
I'm not cut out for motherhood. I can't look after all these children. This was such a bad idea. Samantha turned to look at Roberta, who was sitting to her left. Unlike her, Roberta only had 1 child. Roberta.
Will you adopt my children?
Yes. If I give you a couple of my children, would you look after them for me? Samantha looked at Roberta imploringly, eyes wide, determined to unleash upon her close friend a torrent of her most silver-tongued sentiments. I realize this may sound like a detriment, but in the game of life, having more children is a boon. You stand to benefit a great deal from this arrangement, given you can collect money on their lives at the end of the game. It's called forward thinking. Something that Samantha was notoriously bad at. The only thing I ask in exchange is a mere trifle, something I'm sure a goodly woman such as yourself can part with, Bobby. All I want is a little bit of money for your generosity to tide me over. Do these terms sound acceptable? Would you be willing to help a friend in need? You must be willing, for you have proven yourself time and time again to be such a reliable friend. I'd expect nothing less of you, Roberta.
It's like playing Monopoly.
I know. I hate Monopoly. Roberta stared at Samantha in shock, her eyes wide. Are you trying to sell your own children?
Yes.
Yes, she is. Yes, that is so. Though I wish I had not come to this. Desperate times call for desperate measures. I fear I can't afford to look after them, given my current circumstances. They will starve, Roberta. Do you truly want the death of my children weighing upon your conscience? You can prevent this tragedy if only you open your heart and your wallet, too.
See, she is a good talker.
She is.
Right.
Okay, they were
She
right.
is
We just didn't see any
We just
proof.
hadn't gotten to see it.
Yeah. Be that as it may, it is against the rules. You can't sell your children to other players in the game of life. But there are no buts. You made your grave, now you must lie in it.
There's 2.
But I'm a terrible mother. Oh, terrible. If you won't look after my children, Roberta, at least do the decent thing and call the authorities. I can't cope here. I'm sorry, Sam, but board games have rules for a reason. If we start ignoring them willy-nilly, who knows what might happen.
Who knows what might happen indeed. Anarchy, no doubt.
And you would love that, wouldn't you? Samantha sighed heavily, her shoulders slumping. And so it seemed all of Samantha's orating had been for naught. Her conversational skills really were getting rusty.
Anyway, Bobby has a point. You gave birth to all those kids, Sam, and now you have to face the consequences.
Oh, jeez. Isn't that what you wanted to... Isn't that why you wanted to be a man, Georgia? So you'll never have to face the consequences of all your flings?
Maybe. In the game, though, I only have 2 children. I'm a responsible father.
Oh my god! I can't. I wonder just how many poor women you have left desolate and heartbroken after one-night stands that meant nothing to you but everything to them. Roberta, are you projecting a little bit here?
Who knows? I am devilishly attractive after all.
Oh my god! I'm so mad at these 2.
I love them. I think they're great.
You're not when you boast like that.
She's literally like making fun of her husband.
I know!
Yeah, these 2 are an old married couple.
They really are.
Oh, I thought women found self-esteem attractive in men.
But you aren't a man!
How dare you?
I would be a terrible parent whether I was a man or a woman. Well, I can't argue with that one. Samantha sniffed. You're so cruel, Roberta.
Now buy my children.
Exactly.
Oh, I can tell who won.
Yeah.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Georgia sniggered to herself as she surveyed the summarily defeated Roberta. To add insult to injury, Georgia was using the large wad of money she had managed to accumulate throughout her life as a man. The breeze disrupted her fringe, making it flutter. Percy had been the lead for most of the game, but in later stages she had landed so many holiday squares she lost a good deal of her accumulated wealth. Georgia, being the sneak that she was, had capitalized on Percy's losses and had, after a long and hard struggle, managed to emerge victorious. Naturally, Roberta was not happy about this, even though she tried to hide it. It's not like it matters. The game of life is all based on luck anyway.
And luck is a skill, no different to any other.
Luck is not a skill, not unless you were tampering with the spinner somehow.
My, do you really think I'd do something so underhanded?
If it's you, yes, I think you would.
Over a petty children's game like this? You said it yourself, Bobby, the game of life is silly. Don't you think you're taking this too seriously?
Roberta ran a hand through her ginger, decidedly not goldfish-colored, curls, and harumphed. Well, you may have won the game of life, but we'll see about the reality. You're terrible with money. You'd never be able to raise that much without spending it all.
Of course. What is the point in living if I cannot lavish myself with fine things? It's only what I deserve.
You really are a capitalist.
What did you expect? I am a lady. It would be hypocritical of me to act otherwise, wouldn't it?
I highly doubt you care about what other people think, Georgia. At least you didn't come in last, Roberta. Isn't that some small consolation? I did far worse than you. Far worse than everyone, in fact. If the game of life were at all an accurate picture of reality, then it spelt out a rather disastrous trajectory for Samantha. Would she, too, be saddled with a husband and children she did not want, and no money to speak of?
Don't worry about it, Sam. You were playing against me. It's only natural you would lose.
Roberta pressed one hand against her chest and exhaled heavily, as a Victorian lady might if her corset was tied too tightly. All of a sudden, I'm finding it hard to breathe. Are you alright? Would you like me to open a window? No, that isn't that. It must be because this room is so crowded. Crowded? Yes, with Georgia's massive ego. Rather than look hurt by this comment, Georgia instead giggled, still fanning herself face with a pastel-colored money.
That was a rather quick retort for you, Bobby.
What do you mean for me?
Oh, I don't know. I always pegged you as being rather dim-witted, that's all. Maybe I should annoy you more if it can inspire such witticisms.
Oh my God. Please don't, for your own sake. If you annoy me further than you do already, I fear I would strangle you.
Ooh, how scary.
Oh my God. What? I'm so mad. The sexual tension's going nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh.
Yeah, these two have sexual
These
tension
two.
like for days. You can cut with a knife.
Oh my gosh. A pause.
And speaking of scary things, don't you think this is the perfect place for that? Oh, look, the sexual tension's about to finally get resolved.
I wish. For what?
Ghost stories, of course. Ghost stories.
That's alright. They say if you watch scary things with somebody that they'll like you better because, like, the feelings of, like, fear are very similar to, like, feelings of excitement and love.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
So that's why they sometimes say, like, if you're on a date with someone, go to see a scary movie.
We should stop watching all those horror movies together.
Oh! Yeah. Why ghost stories? Is this another one of your whims?
It isn't a whim, my dear Bobby. It's destiny. The setup couldn't be better. It's dark outside. We're alone in the middle of the countryside with nary a soul to hear us.
Save our other classmates in their own respective rooms, of course.
Shh. Way to kill the mood, Bobby.
I'm just being sensible. Why are you so obsessed with the macabre anyway? I think it's quite tasteless.
That's because you're a dry, passionless woman who does not understand true excitement. You're a splinter in the body of a
Spinster.
You are a spinster in the body of a young girl.
Oh my gosh! If disliking senseless gore makes me dry and passionless, so be it. But Samantha, quite unlike her friend, was quite taken with Georgia's suggestion. She nodded, a newfound flame kindled within her eyes. Ooh, that sounds like fun. I want to join in. You too? Yes, of course. I agree that horror can be somewhat sensationalized without its fainting women in sheer nightgowns. Most of it is grounded not in human emotion, but in attempts to shock. I suppose it's not always the most sophisticated genre, and at its worst can be incredibly tasteless, but I quite like it. Regardless, I think it's quite captivating.
Alright, so you burned me on Truth or Dare, you burned me on Strip Game of Life. I better at least get scary stories with girls in sheer nightgowns.
Right? Come on, man.
Come on.
Give me something.
You owe me.
You owe me this time game. I agree with Samantha. You do? Yes, I also enjoy horror stories to a certain degree. You don't look like the kind of person who would, not with all that blonde hair. Yeah, because blonde hair is what...
Blondes don't like horror movies?
Yeah, what? Percy giggled, one hand held to her mouth. Looks can be deceiving. Isn't it a common theme in horror stories? The doppelganger? And again with the German.
Is doppelganger German?
I think it comes from a German word,
Oh.
yes. You act as though I've said something obscure, Roberta. It's a well-known phrase.
Okay.
The person you once thought you knew, that you could trust, turned out to have a secret identity, one that you could not have fathomed. I thought doppelganger was someone who was a copy of you.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Maybe that's where it originally comes from, but it became that later. Horror seeks to explore the dark depths of human hearts, the parts of ourselves buried deep inside us all that we may not even know exist. Actually, I was trying to write a poem about it. I could recite some of it to you if you'd like.
Go ahead. Even I'm intrigued.
Though Georgia wasted no chance to mock Roberta's creative efforts, she was far kinder to Samantha's. Gee, I wonder why. In fact, Georgia did genuinely enjoy much of Samantha's poetry and thought of her as being genuinely talented.
Oh.
Okay. She did not, however, tell Samantha this. Georgia did not like lavishing praise about anybody but herself. All right. And after clearing her throat, Samantha began. And we will stop here, actually, because we are at the clock. And yeah, hope you guys are. That was a fun episode.
Yeah, that was a fun episode.
Nice.
Finally.
Finally.
Good lord.
Oh, jeez. All right, guys. We'll see where these the poetry goes. And peace, joy, love, and koi, everybody. Mwah.